Hey, how you doing today? I am Prophetess Taquilacoleman, best-selling author, God-ordained marriage coach, and founder of God-ordainedmarriage.com. I am back again with another word from the Lord. So we're going to be talking about the Spirit of the Lord will lead them back to you. Okay, so come on in, come on in. Hey, Tyra, blessing to you as well. Come on in, everyone. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if the sound is okay. Also, if this is your first time catching me live, welcome. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Everyone else, make sure you are also subscribed to this channel and like this live video and share this video out with another God ordained spouse. Okay, hey there, Vicky. Oh, how's everyone doing uh this afternoon? Good evening, good evening. Okay, so look, let me tell you how this word came about. So I was watching a video and the video, what the lady was saying in the video, she said something that caused my mind to think about this topic. And this is just how my mind works. This is how God speaks to me. I could hear one thing, I could see one word, and it just formulate into a whole teaching. That's how my mind works. So as I began to watch that video, and I was just hearing something as I'm watching the video, so I was like, oh my God, this is a principle from the Bible. And I also put up a post today on the post tab. It say, I'm gonna read it. It say, when you become the answer to what your person needs, then will God begin to position you to receive the promise. And we go on to put the definition for need. So need means requires something because it is essential or very important, a thing that is wanted or required. And I go on to talk about, and we're going to talk about some of this too. It's a Pharaoh needed someone to interpret his dreams and sent for Joseph. The prodigal son became in need and went back home to his father. Saul needed Ananias to come and pray over him to restore his sight. Isaac needed a wife to comfort him after his mother's passing. And, that's where Rebecca comes on the scene. King Xerxes needed a wife who would respect him, and he chose Esther. Okay, so I put that post up earlier this morning, and so let's talk about the Spirit of the Lord will lead them back to you, because this is a spiritual principle. Okay, Carmen said, this is my first time watching you. Well, welcome, Carmen. Let's go ahead and say, welcome to Carmen Jackson. Thank you for tuning in, catching me live. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited that you are here. Hey there, everyone. T Hop. I think I said hi to everyone. Yeah. All right. So let's talk about this. Okay. So again, this came about as a result of me hearing another video. Okay, watching another video. So here's the thing. The Spirit of the Lord will lead them back to you. This is a spiritual principle, okay? So if you are wondering if your person is going to come back, the answer is yes, because this is a spiritual principle, okay? And we're going to take a look at a few stories from the Bible, where God, the Spirit of the Lord, led these individuals back to the very place or person that they needed, okay? So let's start with Pharaoh. Okay, in this case, I'm talking about Pharaoh and Joseph. Okay, you all know the story. Hey, Wayne, Doc and Queen Ministry. Hey there, Miss Miller. Let's talk about Pharaoh in the book of Genesis, right? So Joseph had a dream. Joseph had a dream, and long story short, he shared that dream with his brothers. Brothers got jealous of that dream. They tried to stop the dream from coming to pass by plotting against his life. Okay, and so they end up selling Joseph over into Egypt. That's where God needed him to be. So God allowed his enemies to come for him. And so eventually Joseph, he got thrown in prison, where he began to interpret Pharaoh's, some of Pharaoh's people dreams or whatever. And so all of that was just positioning from God. All of that was God setting things up so it could work in Joseph's favor. Okay, because Joseph was never supposed to be in prison. So God made sure, He like, okay, God already know. Pharaoh gonna throw these two individuals in prison. I see the enemy is about to throw my son in prison, so I'm gonna go ahead and allow them their path to cross. So he allowed it. So Pharaoh, he had a dream. Now here's the thing, because when Pharaoh had his dream, nobody around Pharaoh can interpret that dream. Okay? See, when we talk about you becoming the answer, you got to understand what that means. You are becoming what no one around your person can provide for him or her. hmm No one around Pharaoh could interpret his dream. He had witches and warlocks around him. Even they couldn't even interpret the dream. Okay? God put that answer in Joseph. Joseph needed Pharaoh. Pharaoh needed Joseph. Okay? So when the chief cupbearer was reminded of his shortcomings because he had forgot about Joseph, he didn't mention Joseph that first time to Pharaoh. That's when he began to mention Joseph to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh sent for him. He like, get him here, because Pharaoh had a need. Put that in the chat. Pharaoh had a need. The need is what when when he came in need, he sent for the one who had the answer. Come on now. He sent for Joseph. He like, get him up out of there because I got a need that I need met. Pharaoh's mind was up under torment. He couldn't sleep. He didn't have any peace because he needed this dream to be interpreted. Okay? And the only one who can give him that peace, the only one who can give him the clarity, the only one who can give him relief from being tormented was Joseph. I need you to hear me by the Spirit. Okay? This was all set up by the Lord. Okay? So we got that story. Okay? The Spirit of the Lord led Pharaoh to go and connect with Joseph, okay, to get him out of that. Because this is a principle. I need y'all to understand it. This is a principle. The Spirit of the Lord is going to lead your person back to you. Okay, so we just talked about Pharaoh. Let's talk about Saul. This is Old Testament Saul. So we know the story. Saul was the king at that time. He, became very disobedient to the Lord. And as a result of his disobedience, God put an evil spirit on Saul. Hold on for 1 second. Okay. I got a parent and go live at the same time. So Saul in the Old Testament, is there a problem? Get on your tablet. Saul in the Old Testament, he very disobedient to the Lord. He was the king, chosen by the people. And so God put an evil spirit on Saul as a result of his disobedience. Now, this evil spirit, because I need y'all to understand, okay, it wasn't just an evil spirit. When you read the whole story and you see how Saul kept manifesting around David, Saul was trying to unalive David, so he had a murderous spirit. Saul was jealous of David, so he had a jealous spirit. He was lying on David. He, had a spirit of slander, gossip, accusation, all of that, right? So this wasn't just an evil spirit. This was more than one spirit that's attached to Saul. But it talks about, I'm gonna paraphrase it. This is in First Samuel, so y'all gonna have to go back there and read it. But so he would be tormented. Saul would be tormented. He had a torment spirit on him. He would be tormented. And the only time he would find relief is when David would play that harp. I think it was a harp. That it was only when David would play, the harp for him. That's when he would find relief. Okay. I hope you see the connection. Okay. The spirit of the Lord, right? But in this case, because God knew Saul's heart towards David, So God didn't want David connecting with Saul. This is why God, this is how I look at it. God allowed Saul to go after David because he was trying to give David the revelation. You are not supposed to connect with this man. He is disobedient. Yes, you're taking his position, but you are not supposed to be in covenant or connection with this individual because I put this evil spirit on this individual. Okay. For some of you, I'm gonna go to the left right quick. For some of you, this is one of the reasons why God doesn't want you in connection with your person. Because God know because of their disobedience, God put an evil spirit, an unclean spirit on your person. You might not know it, but God know it. And this unclean spirit, just like how it was with Saul, is a dangerous spirit, is a violent spirit, is a spirit that's jealous, right? And so God is telling you, don't connect with this individual. Be obedient, okay? Be obedient to what God is saying. So we see a need and we see the answer right there. Saul needed relief from these unclean spirits. David, right there, playing the harp. As he played, Saul received relief. Okay. All right. Let's go to the next story. Um, Same thing with the prodigal son. Okay. The prodigal son. Now let me open up to this chapter. The prodigal son separated himself from God and asked for his inheritance. And as a result, he got it. He gave him his inheritance. Okay, so this is in Luke 15. Let me pull this up right quick. So he gave him his inheritance, okay, and he separated himself from his father and went off into this wild, just wild, reckless living or whatever. So this is what it say. It goes on to talk about how the prodigal son, it say he hold up. It say not long after that, the young son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. Okay. After he had spent everything, okay, there was a severe famine in that whole country. And he began to be in need. There go that word again. He began to be in need. He'd have spent everything. Okay. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. You see the principle? Going back to Pharaoh. No one could interpret his dream. Now look at this. No one could give Saul relief. Here's the prodigal son. No one gave him anything. This is a principle. It ain't no jealousy against no counterfeit. That counterfeit don't got that need. Okay. God is making you into the need. He is making you, the answer. Okay. No one gave him anything. All right. And so verse 17 said, when he came to his senses, he said, how many of my father, he began to think about the one who had what he need. How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death? I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. Right? So now he's, rehearsing his apology. He began to think about where the answer was at. He had a need. And as you continue to read the story, he went back home. His father even, began to see him from a long way off. Okay, this is a spiritual principle. You don't have to doubt or wonder if your person is going to come back. They are. This is a spiritual principle. Prodigals will come in need. All you got to do is stay in position. All you got to do is work your gift while you are in prison, this place that feel like prison. All you got to do is become the answer. And when the one who is in need become in need, they are going to remember you. Okay, they're going to remember you. It's going to be God bringing you back up to this person's mind. Let's take a look at another one. The other Pharaoh, or maybe this is the same Pharaoh, in Exodus. So Pharaoh, Now let me turn my Bible over here. Pharaoh was very hard-headed. He had a hard heart. And so he refused to let go of God's people. And so I believe the Lord sent 10 plagues his way. On that 10th one, that last one, that's when Pharaoh was like, here, take them. He was like, here. But Pharaoh needed something from Moses. So let me see if I can find it. Let me see if I can find it right quick. Yeah, okay, here it is right here. In Exodus chapter 12, verse 31, it say, during the night, your breakthrough is going to happen during the night. It's going to be suddenly. You're going to wake up just in overflow. You're going to wake up and walking into blessings, okay? During the night, Pharaoh summoned Moses. Look at that. Pharaoh summoned the answer. Pharaoh located the answer. Pharaoh summoned Moses and Aaron and said, up, lead my people, you and the Israelite, go, worship the Lord as you have requested. Take your flocks and herds as you have said, and go. Now listen, then he said, and also bless me. Pharaoh needed someone to bless him because he was up under them curses. Remember, this is when God was sending them 10 plagues against Pharaoh. Tearing up his whole land, field, his crops, all gone because of his hardened heart. He needed something from Moses. He like, I need you to bless me, Moses, because that's the only, like, this is principle too. He needed Moses to pray for him so a blessing can come upon his life. Are y'all picking this up? Let me know. Are y'all seeing what I'm seeing here? When these individuals, when they come in need, they know how to locate the one who has the answer. They know where the relief is at. You getting it? Okay, cool. They know where the relief is at. They know where the peace is at. They know. Okay, that's that one. Let's take a look at another one. Same thing with the book of Esther. The king. He went on ahead and got rid of Vashti, who was his wife at the time, because she disrespected him in the way how she went about not answering him. Okay, she did it publicly, right? So he didn't like that. He was like, no, we're gonna go ahead and divorce her, and we're gonna look for another queen, right? Here we go. The king needed a queen. They put out a search. Esther was in line. Long story short, Esther, out of all them women, won his favor. Okay, he needed a queen. He needed a wife, but not just any wife. He needed a wife who was going to respect him. He needed a wife who also the Bible say he was a more attracted to Esther than all the other women. That's what he needed. See, he lusted after Vashti. She was eye candy. Esther, he was attracted to her. That's like love on a deeper level. That's like you can see that person beauty, their inner qualities. You see that they're different. Okay. He didn't love her the same way he loved Vashti. Okay. So the king needed a wife. He needed a queen, and he knew where she was at. Okay. We got that story. Let's talk about Naomi in the book of Ruth. And I got to turn to this. Let's see. Ruth. Okay. Let's go over here. Let's go to Ruth chapter 1, verse 6. So the story talks about how Naomi, she lost her husband and her two boys. Okay. They both, all three of them died. So it's saying Ruth chapter 1, verse 6, it say, when Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. You hear that? She heard Naomi had a need. It was dried up where she was currently at. She had a need, and she heard the Spirit of the Lord allowed Naomi to hear where food was at. It said, when Naomi heard in Moab that the Lord had come to the aid of his people by providing food for them, she and her daughters-in-law prepared to return home from there. It said, with her two daughters-in-law, she left the place where she had been living. You hear that? Now, let me keep reading. She left the place where she had been living and set out on the road that would take them back to the land of Judah. Didn't the prodigal son leave the place where he was living and he set out to go back home? Don't this sound familiar? Your person is going to leave the place that they've been living at. And I ain't talking about, their current house. They're going to leave that prodigal lifestyle. They're going to leave that double-mindedness. They're going to leave that reprobate mind, okay? They're going to leave all of this foolishness behind, okay? And they're going to come back. They're going to make their way back to the answer, okay? And so as you continue to read, Naomi went back home. She was like, look, it's dried up here. My husband gone. My two sons gone. There's nothing here. I'm going back home. I heard the Lord has provision back home. That's where I'm going. She had a need. God, revealed to her where the answer was at. He like, get there. Remember, I talked to you all about positioning. To receive the promise, you got to be positioned. The only way Naomi was going to get fed, she had to position herself back home. That prodigal son, in order for him to, get what he needed, he had to get in alignment. He had to be positioned. He had to go back home where it was at. Okay. And the same thing with Joseph. Let's talk about Joseph and his brothers, because even though, going back in Genesis, even though his brothers betrayed him, plotted to unalive him, perform witchcraft on Joseph. Oh, they did all these bad things. They lied on him. Even though all this stuff happened to Joseph by his brothers, his family came in need. They had also heard that it was food in Egypt. And I believe it was Joseph's father who sent the brothers. He was like, go down there and get us some food. Not knowing, Joseph's father didn't even know that his son, Joseph, was down there, was the head man in charge. He sent the father sent the son to Egypt only for Joseph's brothers to run right into Joseph. They ran right into the answer. Okay. Now I'm hearing the Lord say something. This is what I'm hearing. Some of these prodigals, they are going to return, just by being reminded by you being an answer. But others are going to return because they're going to hear about something about you. They're going to hear it. Okay. But it could be by the Lord. It could be, God revealing it to them in a dream or a vision, but they're going to hear something about you that's going to cause them to return and come back home, or to return and seek you out. Okay. Just keep that in mind. You got to stay ready. Stay ready. But Joseph's brothers, they went back to Egypt. They needed food to stay alive. And long story short, when they was in front of Joseph, they didn't even recognize him. That's how much God blessed them. That's how much God blessed Joseph. They didn't recognize him, but he recognized his brothers. And so eventually he revealed himself to them and he helped them. He became the answer to what they needed in that moment. Okay. So listen, the Spirit of the Lord will lead your person back to you. You don't have to wonder. You don't have to question. You don't even have to, do any of these things. They're coming back. But my question to you is, when your person come back, will you be ready? Will you be the answer to what they need? Let me say this. God put the answer in Joseph. The answer was in him interpreting the dreams, but he had to work that gift. Okay? He had to work that gift. God put the answer in Esther. Her answer was in her spirit. She had a gentle spirit. She had the Spirit of the Lord upon her. Okay? She was connected to the one, because that's what it was with King Xerxes. He saw the Spirit of the Lord on her. I don't know if he had the language to identify that, but that's why he was attracted to her. Okay? She became the answer. And she was quiet. She was peaceful. She knew when to speak, when to be quiet. Okay? Same thing with Saul and David. David, the answer was in David. He had a talent. Okay? And as he played, that harp, it brought relief to Saul, his enemy. So when the Spirit of the Lord send your person back, will you be ready? Or will you have to get ready? You got to think about it. Think about it. Okay? That's not the time for you to be trying to get ready. Get ready now. Get ready now. You work your gift now. You develop the talent now. Okay? You grow in the Lord now. You become someone who fear the Lord. Because the very thing that your person is missing, they're going to find it in you. They're missing God. They're missing God. Will they find God in you? He said, God told me to build an ark years ago. Right now, she needs an ark. Yes. So go deeper into that. Do you know the ark that God is telling you to build? You got to know what is that ark that God is calling for me to build. And if you know it, it's time to start building. T Hop says something made you jump on this stream rather quickly, Sister Tequila. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you why I came back on here because I have a bad habit of I could be getting a lot of words and I write them down. I have like notebooks everywhere. I write all this stuff down in notebooks and I tell myself, okay, I'm gonna go live, I'm gonna record this video, and I never get around to doing it. So I just said today, let me go ahead and jump on live and just go ahead because I don't even have this prepared in no notes. I just put some bullet points down and bam. So I said, let me go ahead and just release this because this is a principle. This is a spiritual principle. This whole divine separation, it is preparing you to become the answer. That's why it's so hard. That's why you have to suffer. That's why, you got to be patient. That's why God is talking to you about your gifts, your talents, your purpose. He's helping you to become the answer. This is also why he's telling you to heal, forgive, let go of that. You can't be the answer and you still bitter. You can't be the answer and you still bound by the enemy. Nah, you got to get free. Okay. Okay. You said almost done with the housing part. Yeah. All right, so that is it. Okay, the Spirit of the Lord is going to lead your person back to you. All right, so that is it. Again, if you need help with any of this stuff, you need help with your purpose and calling, you need help with healing, you need help with or maybe you need support in this process, head over to godordainedmarriages.com/success system and join our God ordained marriage success system. Okay. And that is it. I'll see you all tomorrow. So, everyone, enjoy the rest of your day. Take care.